Right now, an AI isn't just writing polite emails anymore. It's actively reconciling corporate payrolls, finding microscopic cracks in global cybersecurity, and autonomously fixing entire IT networks.
Right. The whole paradigm is shifting.
Yeah, we're no longer in the era of chatbots that just sit there waiting for your questions. Today, looking at the weekly AI news for the 13th of May, 2026, we have officially entered what the industry is calling the agentic era.
Which is a huge deal because, in the past, the human was always the operator. You interacted with a piece of software and there was an expectation of, direct deterministic control.
You press the brake, the car stops.
Exactly. The software only moved when you told it to move. But we're moving from that paradigm of human operation into a totally new paradigm of digital autonomy. We've handed over the keys, climbed into the passenger seat, and the steering wheel it's turning completely on its own now.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to this custom deep dive looking at the top stories, trends, and development of the week. Our mission today is to cut through all the noise of the AI hype cycle and figure out what is actually happening.
And there's a lot of noise.
So much noise. We are looking at a massive stack of news that shows how this shift to autonomous agents is fundamentally changing how businesses operate. It's altering the physical reality of how silicon chips are designed, and it's triggering the largest IPO supercycle in the history of the stock market.
Yeah, the financial stakes are just astronomical right now.
They really are. But to understand the sheer scale of this shift, we first have to look at what these models are actually doing right now. They are orchestrating entire multi-step workflows without holding your hand. Look at Anthropic's new launch, Claude for Small Business. They just released a package featuring 15 agentic workflows that integrate directly into the tools you probably already use. Things like QuickBooks, HubSpot, Canva.
And it goes far beyond just suggesting a marketing strategy. It executes the strategy. Let's look at the accounting agent in that package.
Oh, yeah, the accounting one is wild.
It really is. It can log into your QuickBooks, check your cash position, cross-reference that against incoming PayPal settlements, and just build a 30-day forecast. It literally runs the month-end close.
Which is the worst part of running a business.
Completely. And if there's a discrepancy between, say, a vendor invoice and your bank ledger, it flags it, writes a plain English profit and loss statement, and preps the final export for your accountant, all in the background.
Which is just crazy if you're a small business owner used to spending your entire Sunday doing exactly that. And it's not just Anthropic. At Google Cloud Next 26, they rolled out the Gemini Enterprise Agent platform with very similar capabilities.
Yeah, the Papa John's example they used was super interesting.
Right. They highlighted Papa John's using this ordering agent. And this isn't one of those maddening traditional phone trees where you press for the pepperoni.
Right. I know that he likes those.
No. It's a dynamic AI that uses conversational context. It remembers a customer's usual order, navigates the internal point of sale system, and handles the entire transaction based on real-time inventory.
And Meta is pushing the exact same architectural shift with New Spark. This is their new natively multimodal reasoning model, and it's built specifically from the ground up for multi-agent orchestration.
Multimodal, meaning it handles everything at once.
Exactly. It doesn't just understand text, it processes audio, video, and code simultaneously, so it can use digital tools the way a human would.
Wow.
But I'd say the most striking example of this workflow orchestration comes from the enterprise sector. Specifically, that new partnership between ServiceNow and NVIDIA.
Ooh, the IT picket thing.
Yes, they have built an autonomous workforce of AI specialists that is successfully resolving 90% of IT tickets.
90%. I want to emphasize what that actually means for you listening. The AI is receiving a complex IT problem from a frustrated employee, reasoning through the solution, logging into the company's internal system, applying the fix, and then closing the ticket.
Without a human IT worker ever seeing it.
Right, but handing over the keys to the kingdom brings up a massive vulnerability. We're trusting agents to navigate our most sensitive systems.
Yeah.
Because these agents are so incredibly good at reasoning and chaining tasks together, they're also terrifyingly good at finding vulnerability.
Well, the cybersecurity implications are massive.
Yeah, like Anthropic had a preview model called Mythos as part of their Project Glasswing. It didn't just guess passwords. It analyzed a flaw from 2012 inches, a networked protocol, paired it with a memory leak from 2018 inches, an old server application, and chained them together to create a working exploit in major operating systems.
And the underlying mechanism is the exact same.
What do you mean?
I mean the exact same reasoning capabilities that allow an agent to reconcile a complex financial ledger across 3 different databases. That's what allows it to navigate the architecture of an operating system and find these microscopic overlapping cracks in the code.
That is genuinely scary.
It is. And this revelation instantly triggered a massive reaction across the industry. OpenAI immediately released their Codex security model to proactively spot these chained risks, while Microsoft unveiled MDAH.
Right, the swarm system.
Exactly. MDAH is a system of over 100 AI agents orchestrating together, and it just found 16 previously unknown Windows flaws.
Hold on, I have to push back here. Wait, so we are giving AI the keys to the payroll system? And yet, at the exact same time, we are having AI fight AI in a cybersecurity war inside those very same operating systems.
Subsequently, yes.
It sounds like we've moved from having a really smart intern who occasionally drafts our email to hiring an unknown employee and immediately giving them the keys to the cash register and root access to the server room.
You're giving the agent systemic access, and that creates a really fascinating friction point. I mean, if these agents are so autonomous and so capable of doing the job of an entire IT or finance department, you would logically think they'd just sell themselves.
Right, like a company would just download the software, flip a switch, and let it run.
But there's a massive roadblock here. You can't just drop an autonomous agent into a 20-year-old corporate system.
Oh, for sure. If you've ever had to use your company's clunky internal portal, you know exactly why an AI would struggle to navigate them.
It's a nightmare.
Legacy systems are incredibly messy. They have bespoke code written by someone who left the company a decade ago, siloed databases that don't talk to each other, and just Byzantine internal access rules.
What's fascinating here is that this forces the tech industry into a deeply ironic situation. The automation revolution currently requires an unfathomable amount of human labor just to get off the ground.
Yeah, we're seeing tech giants deploy massive armies of human beings just to install the software that is supposed to replace human labor. OpenAI just launched the OpenAI Deployment Company with a massive $4 billion initial investment. They outright acquired a consulting firm called Tomorrow to instantly bring on 150 experienced AI engineers.
And their entire job is to physically embed themselves into client organizations.
Right, just to get these frontier models deployed. And Google Cloud is executing a parallel pivot. Thomas Kurian, the head of Google Cloud, announced they are moving away from having just an ocean of salespeople.
Which is a huge shift for them.
It is. Instead, they are hiring hundreds of what they call forward-deployed engineers.
Because the job of a forward-deployed engineer isn't to sell a software license. Their job is to sit in the client's office, map their messy internal endpoints, and build a customized digital scaffolding over, like a 2004 Oracle database, so the AI agents can actually read it and interact with it.
So the bottleneck isn't the AI anymore.
No, the bottleneck is no longer the capability of the AI model. The intelligence is there. The bottleneck is the structural readiness of the global economy.
Okay, let me challenge the premise of this whole business model though.
Sure.
If these tech companies are spending $4 billion to fire human consultants, and businesses are paying millions in implementation fees just to make the AI work, doesn't that entirely defeat the cost-saving promise of AI? Why would a business buy this if they also have to pay a team of humans to pave the road before the AI can even drive on it?
Because the long-term math still heavily favors the AI. Well, assuming the business survives the transition, it's a massive upfront capital expenditure. You pay the consultants once to build the scaffolding.
Right.
But once that agent is running QuickBooks, handling 90% of IT ticket, and managing inventory, the marginal cost of doing business plummets to near zero.
Yeah.
You're replacing ongoing human salaries with the cost of electricity and compute power.
Which is exactly why deploying millions of these autonomous agents across global enterprises requires a staggering amount of physical infrastructure. The sheer compute power required to run the agentic era is colliding with brutal physical reality.
We are talking about power and silicon at a scale that is honestly hard to comprehend.
Yeah, to run these agents continuously, you need data centers that pull as much electricity as small cities. Look at Anthropic's new deal today. They just signed a massive compute agreement with SpaceX, gaining access to the Colossus One data center in Memphis, Tennessee.
Which is just a massive facility.
It houses over 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs and requires 300 megawatts of power. And first of all, it is wild that SpaceX, a rocket company, is now suddenly a major linchpin player in AI compute infrastructure.
It highlights how desperate the need for energy and processing power has become. The AI boom is completely constrained by physics now.
Yeah.
If you have the energy grid connections and the chips, you are an AI player, regardless of your original industry.
And to deal with this relentless demand, the hardware itself is mutating. At Google Cloud Next, they announced their 8th generation Tensor Processing U, or TPUs. But Google, splitting their chips into two different types, really caught my eye.
Yeah, the 8T and the 8I.
Right. They introduced the TPU 8T, which is optimized for training with 9,600 chips in a superpod, and the TPU 8I, which is optimized for inference and features 3 times more on-chip RAM. Why divide the hardware like this? Is building the AI fundamentally different than using it?
It is now.
Okay.
The workload is fundamentally changed. Building the AI, which we call training, is like reading every book in a massive library to learn how the world works.
Okay.
It requires moving massive chunks of data simultaneously. That is what the 8T is designed for, a superpod of 9,600 chips focused on massive parallel throughput. You are doing the heavy lifting of building the brain.
And what about inference?
Inference is actually using the model. In the chatbot era, inference was simple. You asked a question, it fetched the answer, and the model essentially went to sleep.
Right, it was just waiting for the next prompt.
Exactly. But in the agentic era, the agent is running constantly. It's monitoring your QuickBooks, checking your HubSpot, reading incoming emails, and making real-time decisions 24/7.
Which is a totally different workload.
Entirely. That requires incredibly fast memory recall and low latency. You mentioned the 8i has triple the on-chip SRAM. SRAM stands for Static Random Access Memory. Think of it as the AI's short-term working memory directly on the chip.
So it doesn't have to constantly look things up.
Right. It allows the model to react instantly to a new email without having to fetch data from the basement of the server. The heavy lifting of the AI industry has shifted from just training the model to the relentless real-time computational burn of running millions of autonomous agents simultaneously.
That explains why Meta is scaling their infrastructure at such a breakneck pace. They've developed 4 generations of their MTI agents, the 300, 400, 400, 400, the 500 series in just 2 years.
They have to just to keep up.
Because they are rushing to transition their hardware from basic newsfeed ranking systems to supporting this massive generative AI inference load, But building this physical infrastructure out of 300 megawatt data centers and hiring the human infrastructure to install the software costs tens of billions of dollars.
And the private market simply cannot sustain this kind of cash burn rate forever. The venture capitalists are tapped out.
Which brings the entire industry to a critical inflection point. The financial reality of the agentic era requires tapping into the public equities market.
Oh, absolutely.
We are looking at the $3 trillion AI IPO supercycle of 2026. The pipeline is unlike anything public markets have ever seen. The 12 most watched companies in this pipeline represent over $3 trillion in estimated value.
And AI or AI-adjacent companies make up 92% of that figure.
If you're looking at your own portfolios right now, the sheer scale of these numbers is dizzying. Literally today, the 13th of May, 2026, Cerebras, the AI chipmaker, is pricing its IPO at $150 to $160 a share. This nets them a $48.8 billion fully diluted valuation.
And just for clarity, a fully diluted valuation means that's what the company's worth if every single stock option, warrant, and restricted share out there is exercised and turned into common stock. It's the maximum possible size of the company.
And they are reportedly 20 times oversubscribed.
Meaning investor demand is just ravenous.
But Cerebras is really just the opening act. The absolute linchpin of this entire market is SpaceX. They filed a confidential S1 targeting up to a $2 trillion valuation.
And for context, a confidential S1 means they are privately submitting their detailed financial health to the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Right.
It allows a company to test the waters and respond to SEC feedback before publicly opening their books to Wall Street.
And remember, SpaceX completed an all-stock merger with Elon Musk's xAI back in February of 2026. So between their orbital launch monopoly, the Starlink satellite internet network, the xAI models, and now these massive data center deals, like the one with Anthropic, they are a dual aerospace and AI juggernaut.
It's unprecedented.
It really is. And this filing sets up an incredible contrast between two pure-play AI labs going public, Anthropic and OpenAI.
Oh, their business models are completely opposed at this point.
The numbers here are staggering. Anthropic has crossed $30 billion in annualized revenue. They are seeing 1,400% year-on-year growth, pushing for a $900 billion valuation target as they prep for a potential October IPO.
Incredible growth.
But on the other side, OpenAI is generating $25 billion in revenue, but they are projected to actually lose $14 billion in 2026.
Right.
They aren't expected to hit break-even until 2029 or 2030. Plus, they're dealing with a reported 20% revenue share agreement with Microsoft, meaning a fifth of every dollar they make goes straight back to Redmond through 2030.
This divergence shows two completely different philosophies on how to win the AI race. OpenAI is spending aggressively on raw compute power, bleeding cash on supercomputers to try and achieve artificial general intelligence. They believe maintaining the frontier advantage is worth any financial cost.
And Anthropic.
Anthropic, on the other hand, is building enterprise software. Claude is finding deep monetizable traction running back office infrastructure, which translates to massive B2B revenue right now.
So what does this all mean for Wall Street? Do investors care about profitability anymore? Or is it all about scale? Look at the anomaly of the group, Databricks.
Ah yes, Databricks.
They have $5.4 billion in annualized revenue, with $1.4 billion of that being AI-specific product revenue. But the key difference is they are actually profitable. They have positive free cash flow,
which is rare in this space right now.
That means after paying all their operating expenses, and capital expenditures, they actually have real cash left over in the bank. With OpenAI bleeding $14 billion this year, is Databricks the tortoise in this race, proving that actual traditional profitability still matters to Wall Street?
I mean, Databricks is the conservative position in a pipeline full of unprecedented cash flows. For institutional investors who are wary of tech companies that had never seen a profitable quarter, Databricks offers a traditional software-as-a-service financial profile, but wrapped in the growth narrative of AI. However, whether Wall Street ultimately prioritizes Databricks' steady profitability or OpenAI's massive scale, that won't be decided by either of them. It will be decided by SpaceX.
Because they are the biggest fish in the pond.
Exactly. SpaceX's upcoming June roadshow will test the sheer demand capacity of the public equities market. If SpaceX prices cleanly and the stock pops on the first day, it opens the window and sets a very high floor of confidence for every AI giant that follows.
And if they stumble?
If they stumble, or if the market balks at that $2 trillion valuation, it could break the ceiling and force a brutal reset of pricing expectations across that entire $3 trillion pipeline.
Let's take a breath and briefly recap the journey we just went on today. In this deep dive,
yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
We started by looking at how the technology has evolved. AI agents are moving from answering simple questions to actively taking over enterprise payrolls and autonomously chaining together zero-day cybersecurity hacks.
From chatbots to agents.
Exactly. We then looked at the messy reality of the corporate world and the massive army of human deployment engineers required to physically map and install these agents into legacy databases. From there, we scaled up to the physical constraint, the 300 megawatt supercomputers and the bifurcated silicon memory needed to run millions of these agents continuously.
The physical bottleneck.
And finally, we looked at the trillions of dollars at stake as the company sprint to the public markets to fund its physical and human infrastructure.
Bringing it all back to you, listening to this right now. Whether you are prepping for a boardroom meeting, running a small business, or just trying to wrap your head around where the global economy is heading, the core takeaway of the agentic era is this AI is fundamentally transitioning from a tool that you query into a coworker that you manage.
Right. You are no longer just looking for answers. You are delegating workflow. And as we delegate more, the line of what we trust these agents to do gets increasingly blurred. I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, based on a smaller piece of news that slipped through today's stack. A startup called Origin Lab just raised $8 million.
Which doesn't sound like a lot compared to the billions we just talked about.
No, but their business model is fascinating. They are helping video game companies sell their highly structured licensed data to AI builders so they can create what are called world models.
Because when an AI learns from text, it learns how words connect. But when an AI learns from a video game environment, it learns physics.
It learned spatial reasoning.
Exactly. It learns cause and effect within a simulated environment.
Its AI is already learning complex physical reasoning from the digital worlds of video games. And we are simultaneously trusting these exact same agents to autonomously run our enterprise payrolls and navigate our most sensitive cybersecurity frameworks. At what point does the line entirely blur between managing a helpful piece of software and fully delegating your business to an autonomous digital entity?
That's the billion-dollar question.
We've officially handed over the keys. We are in the passenger seat now, and the wheel is turning on its own. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the top stories of the week. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next one.